Welcome to the Best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, a weekly segment dedicated to putting the focus on the amazing things and the amazing people behind them in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is sponsored by and content is provided by St. Barnabas. The show airs every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 on WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. Now, with no further ado, let's welcome host Mike Romide to introduce today's program.
Good morning and welcome to the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. A trusted name in healthcare, the St. Barnabas Health System has grown to become a visionary leader in providing quality care. Founded in 1900 as a charitable nursing home, St. Barnabas now spans across 3 campuses in Allegheny, Butler, and Beaver counties. Offering a full continuum of care from retirement living to skilled nursing services to short-term and comprehensive rehabilitative support care, which include memory care programs and home and hospice care. The St. Barnabas Health System continues to be focused on the needs of our residents and the community. At the core of this faith-based mission, St. Barnabas is an all-encompassing, nonprofit organization that is focused on its founder's reminder that God is able. Each day, the St. Barnabas Health System provides compassionate care as it continues to help the health, education, and social needs of others while providing care with dignity, grace, and respect. Our team is excited to have insightful conversations aimed at helping you and your family thrive. As a result, our radio show aims to introduce you to successful community people who are making a positive impact in the greater Pittsburgh area. The month of October tends to be Fire Awareness and Prevention Month. I'm sure we remember slogans like Stop, Drop, and Roll, or Learn Not to Burn. Here to talk with us and provide more information regarding fire awareness and prevention tips is Brighton Township firefighter and veteran Buddy Nunamaker. Good morning, Buddy.
Good morning, Mike.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be here.
We are thrilled to have you. October being Fire Awareness Month, it's a reminder that we have to change the batteries in our smoke detectors.
Yep.
That's one of the big things, right?
Yeah, definitely one of the big ones.
Make sure everybody changes those batteries.
That's right.
And if you've taken them out for a kid's toy, you better replace them.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
You probably come across those sort of things.
Oh, we come across all different kinds of things. It's one reason or another, people do different things, and it's just that's why we're there to remind them that, hey, might not be a great idea.
Yeah, Brighton Township, that's a pretty big area, and you were telling me before we went on the air that you've been in the fire department for 21 years.
Yep, 21 years. I joined in July of 2001, so actually just before September 11th. Mm-hmm. So I was 17 when I joined, and yeah.
It's a different layout in Brighton Township than it is in some of our river communities. You've got a lot of ground to cover, and the growth in Brighton Township has probably been bigger than most of our areas.
Yeah, so Brighton Township came from being a completely rural area. Farm country out there. To where now it has a lot of housing communities mixed in with some of the rural areas. So just in the time that I've been up there, we've had 3 or 4 different housing developments come in with several hundred homes, and so then that increases our population. We're slowly creeping up on the 10,000 mark as far as population, and yeah, we cover about 20 square miles. So, yeah.
And you said the housing complexes that have been built up there over the years. You've got great schools up in that area. That has put perhaps a little more pressure on the fire department. Oh, for sure.
I mean, anytime we have an addition of more residents, more houses, things like that, we also deal with the services that go along with those being important there. So, we do deal with one school that is fully in our jurisdiction, and then we have the high school and the other elementary school that are in our neighboring communities that we still have to be able to assist with, and grocery stores and all the other things that go along with it.
So has the growth of the fire department grown with the community?
Number-wise, not necessarily. However, back in 2018, we started some paid staffing at the station. So we used to be all volunteer And now
wait. You started out at the age of 17 as a volunteer?
As a volunteer.
And until, what, 2018, you're saying? That they just started to say we can pay some of the fire department?
Yep, yeah, so just in 2018 we started seeing some paid guys on, and we have one person on duty 24/7 now, to make sure that we have staffing available to answer whatever calls might come in.
A lot of our fire departments over the years have been pretty much shored up by volunteers.
Oh yeah.
You were a volunteer. What got you involved in firefighting at a young age?
So mine was actually through friends that I was in school with. I didn't have any family ties to it or anything like that. I just had a couple friends that were in the program, and I actually grew up in downtown Beaver, and then my junior year in high school I moved up to Brighton Township, and when I did that, that was the department that those guys were in, so I ended up joining the department, and that's kind of paved my path for...
Yeah. But I mean, what was it like? I mean, you're a young guy, you got a couple of friends there. Brighton Township at that time was smaller in terms of the population, but aside from hanging out at the fire department and watching movies, washing the trucks or anything like that, when you're 17, do you realize the whole scope of what you're getting into?
You know what, not really. I mean, I don't know if I really realized a lot of the scope of anything I had going on in my life until years after that, but I know it was definitely a kind of a turning point for me. I know when I was first talking to my parents about joining, you know, they were concerned how, you know, if something would happen to me doing the firefighting thing, how that would affect, you know, job later on or whatever it might be. But as things have turned out, I ended up, you know, going in to be a career firefighter and what else anyway.
Did you intend to do that when you were 17? No.
At 17, I planned on going active duty in the military, and that was going to be what I was going to do. Wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
And
you were in the military?
Yep. So I joined the Air National Guard when I finished up college, and actually went in as a firefighter there. Kind of driven by what I had done volunteer-wise, and so I'm still doing that.
So you fly jets?
I get to fly on them. I don't get to fly on them.
Okay. All right. Now, is it different being in the Air National Guard and the type of fires that you would fight versus what you're doing in Brighton Township?
So about the only difference that we really deal with is we also deal with the aircraft side. So we do the structure firefighting, vehicle rescue, same as what we do around here. But then we also have to deal with the airplanes and how, you know, we do things a little differently with those large amount of people in one area or random cargo stuff, whatever it might be, and then a lot of fuel. So,
in terms of getting involved in it, you had mentioned earlier that you became a volunteer firefighter in Brighton Township about a month after September 11th, 2001?
It was just before.
Just before.
Yeah.
Did that have any impact on your decisions going forward?
Going forward, not really. Again, it was one of those things, me being so young in the service, I didn't really understand the scope of everything that was involved in that. I mean, in that whole situation, you know, I remember after that happened, you know, people asking, "Oh, are you guys going to have to go up there or whatever?" And I had no clue. I mean, you know, we all heard stories afterwards about, you know, the number of firefighters that it took and things like that to deal with that whole situation. But you know, it was just one of those things where still not having a grasp of basically how the whole system works, how we fit into it, and things
when,
like that.
When you were with the Air National Guard, where were you stationed, or where did you do the work?
So I've been stationed here in Pittsburgh
Okay,
the whole time that I've been in. We have deployed a few times, and then, you know, we might get deployed for training or things like that elsewhere. So I've been to Texas, North Dakota, Mississippi, and probably a few other places stateside.
See a couple states.
Yeah, and then overseas, you know, been to the Middle East 4 times now. So
fighting fires over there.
So that's what we do. I mean, as a firefighter in the military, we do the same thing that we would do here stateside. We just do it over there. So for the most part, we are on a base over there and providing protective services for the rest of that base. You know, structure firefighting, aircraft firefighting, EMS, whatever it might be.
Different kinds of fire that you're fighting, because at least I've read over the past couple of years of the dangers inherent of fighting fires and the type of fires that they have over in the Middle East, and breathing difficulties that maybe some veterans have afterwards.
Yeah, so a lot of that came from, I shouldn't even necessarily say early on, but they were burning a lot of stuff over there just to get rid of it, you know, making sure that uniforms weren't getting out into the area around the bases, all the documents needed burned, things like that. So they just had these burn pits that were causing problems for a lot of the veterans. That's where a lot of that comes from. The actual fires that we would deal with are relatively similar to what we would find here. It's a lot of the same building supplies used and things like that, none of which is good for our health.
Sure.
And that is one thing that's kind of changed over the years. It used to be nice natural wood, natural materials being used in your beds or couches or whatever, to where now it's all synthetic and super not good for us.
Are you still as passionate about the profession as you were when you were 17?
Oh, I think so. I think as time's gone, the passion has maybe shifted in my approach to it. You know, as a younger guy, looking more at it from the excitement standpoint of, you know, some of the stuff that we got to do, to where now have to look at it a lot more from the viewpoint of making sure, you know, we're doing it safely and keeping the people safe, and you know, different aspects of it like that.
So it's not the adrenaline rush that you might have gotten back then?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, when we get I mean, if we have a working fire or, you know, a vehicle accident or something like that, the adrenaline's definitely still there. I just have to think about it differently now.
Yeah. When you were talking about the types of products, whether it's building materials or whatever used in the Middle East, but they've also changed here stateside as well. And some of the new projects that you're talking about in Brighton Township, they're building these things. The products that they're using, the construction products, do you have to keep an eye on that? Do they have to report to you about what they're using so that you know whether or not you can handle that? Yeah,
so we try to get in as much as we can to the new stuff that's being built, just to see how it's being built, what they're using to build it. The industry as a whole does pretty well with showcasing the new products that they're using and things like that, and we just have to make sure we get the info on those new products and then kind of look at it and see how it affects our jobs. You know, so for all like the new houses and things that are built, they burn way faster and way hotter than what we call the legacy things that were done in years past. So we just kind of have to change our approach in how we...
Not all built with concrete blocks and those type of things.
No, not at all. That would be ideal, because that makes it pretty easy for us. But yeah.
How big is the department in Brighton Township? How many members do you have now?
So right now, and actually I was just writing some of this stuff down here. So we have 15 part-timers, we have 30 volunteers, and then we have 10 associates. So the way Brighton Township works, in order to be a volunteer for the department, you have to live within the township. But the associate membership is something that we started about the same time that we brought the part-timers in, to where if somebody lives outside of our community and they would like to be a part of our organization, they can come out and work a shift at the station with the paid guy that's on, and operate just out of the station that way. The idea behind that is we don't want people coming from other communities rushing to get to our area if we have a fire or something like that. Just that's not a safe operation.
Most of the communities operate like that you have to be living a resident of the community.
Most of them do. There are several that they don't necessarily have that rule in place, but I know a lot of them have rules where, like, if you work within the community so many hours a week, you can be a member of their department. You know, the whole basis of the volunteer organization is you know, it's the people of that community supporting their own town. So that's
why it's important to get out to the schools and talk to the kids during Fire Prevention Month, right?
For sure, definitely.
You got to get out there with the fire trucks, and you know, it's appealing to a lot of kids when they're young
to
want to be a fireman.
Yeah, we make a bit of a transition. We start with the really young kids just to make sure that they're not scared of us showing up whenever we have all of our gear on. We don't look normal, we don't sound normal, so we don't want them to hide from us if we're there to help them. And then as they start getting a little bit older, then we can start working on that.
Very good.
That you know.
Buddy Nunamaker is our guest. He is with the Brighton Township Fire Department. We'll give you a second to check the batteries in your smoke detector while we take a commercial break on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. Of the many things that make St. Barnabas Health System apart from the ordinary is an appreciation for their employees, an act that does not go unnoticed. Let's learn more about what this means from one of their employees.
Hi, my name's Susan Elleteri. I'm a registered nurse at St. Barnabas. Our team is responsible for the excellent care of our residents. Tending to their specific needs is very important. We pursue compassionate care, hard work, and kindness, and it is an extremely rewarding career, and I'm very grateful to have nursing as a career. It's extremely rewarding. We can acknowledge the goodness in our life, and I do believe that.
Find out about the exceptional career opportunities St. Barnabas has to offer by visiting stbarnabashealthsystem.com/careers for more information, or by calling 724-444-JOBS. That's 724-444-5627. Find out why St. Barnabas is apart from the ordinary.
Now entering our 75th year of serving Beaver County. You're listening to 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
Fires out here at the St. Barnabas Radio Network. We're talking with Buddy Nunamaker. He is, what is your rank? You're the chief?
I'm the assistant chief.
Assistant chief, okay. He's the guy who does all the work the chief doesn't want to do, right? That's how
anything I can do to take stuff off his plate.
That's right. We're talking because October is Fire Prevention Month. Is that right? What do they call it?
It is, yep, Fire Prevention Month. Yep.
And so they go out to the schools and they go to the community and say, hey, we need your help. The boot drives and everything else, and you talked about how many people are on and the different levels of firefighters that you have, and you also have to have an auxiliary unit as well to help the firefighters and to raise money. It's not as easy, or maybe people realize it's not so easy to raise money to keep those trucks and to keep up with the technology.
Yeah, the money thing is definitely a huge piece of everything we deal with now. I mean, it's always been something that we've had to deal with, but with the way that rising prices are now, a new ladder truck is going to be over $1 million for us when we have to go do that. So
that's a lot of bake sales.
Yeah,
a lot of fish fries.
Yep.
Do you get help from the state when it comes time for grants or whatever?
Yes, yeah. So the federal government does a great job with grant programs. The state government does a great job with grant programs. The county helps out when they can, and then our local government does an awesome job with us. Our local setup has been unbelievable as far as what they've been able to help us out with and set us up with.
How could you operate at that level? I mean, as your population continues to grow, and the technology is growing, you can't have a truck. You can't be riding around in a truck from the 1950s.
Right.
So tell us about the technology and how it has changed. Those trucks that we used to see, the shorter ladders, I'm sure, but the power and the things that you need inherent to do the job of a firefighter.
Yeah. So our so just talking like the ladder truck itself, so we have the hospital and we have the
we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, the geriatric center that we have up there. Both pretty tall buildings. So we have our ladder truck is 100 foot, and we call it a platform. So there's all that basically means is there's a basket at the end of the ladder that you can work off of.
Do you ever go up there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So and that one's actually our oldest truck right now. It's a 1996, and that's along with as we were talking, that's one of the things we have to do is we have to be able to keep trucks on the road for a long time. So maintenance is very big on them. Keeping them clean helps with that, and just keeping the general upkeep on them. And technology has definitely come a huge way over the last, you know, just 20 years that I've been, you know, in the service, where we're using a lot more cameras now. So backup cameras are in place to help us position the trucks, as well as make sure we're backing up safely. The electronics run everything now, where it used to be everything was manual on the truck. Now it's all electronics, which is just another level that it is what it is. We have to deal with it. They fail, but you know, it's just something that we have to deal with. So there's usually mechanical backups, but you know, just all that runs around is.
So does everybody have to be trained on this stuff then? Does this go through, you have to go out and train the individuals who want to be a part of the fire department?
Yes,
because
definitely.
it's not just a guy who wants to, I'll do the ladders, no, I'll drive the truck, you know, no, I'll roll up the hoses.
It used to be that, you know, you could get just about anyone off the street, you know, they could operate the vehicles because they were a lot smaller. They operated very similar to the way that most of the other vehicles that you see out there, manual transmission, whatever it was, that, you know, that's the way they operate today. A lot more goes into them. So there's a ton of training that we do from the fire side, where there's hours and hours and hours of training to get certified to be a firefighter, and then there's hours and hours of training you can do just to do the driving portion of it. And then you add in all the different rescue stuff that we do, EMS, hazardous materials. There's a lot of training.
A lot. And we started out talking about the schools and the new complexes that are being built, and never even touched on the Heritage Valley Health System or the Geriatric Center up there. So you get support from the other communities around. What is your actual location in terms of where your borders that you have to cover?
So we basically, as you're coming up out of Beaver or Bridgewater or Vanport, pretty much as soon as you come up the hill, that you're coming into Brighton Township then at that point, and then we run all the way out to South Beaver, Chippewa, Ohioville, Industry on our far end that loops us out there. And yeah, everybody's in the same boat now with having less volunteers. You know, we're all dependent on the departments around us to help out. So when we have an incident at the big facilities, for sure, but I mean, even just a residential house, we always have somebody else coming to assist us with that.
Well, it's getting to be, it is that time of the year where people are going to have bonfires, or they're just going to burn leaves in their yards or something like that. Anything can happen.
Yep.
Fireplaces, people are going to start kicking up because they don't want to pay the heating bill.
Yep.
Those all challenges for you.
Yeah, all challenges. The worst part with almost all that stuff is most of the issues that we see that are related to something in those sorts, if a little bit of care would have been placed ahead of time to just pay attention to what you're doing, or take an inspection of your chimney or something like that, a lot of those problems can be avoided. But
like don't put the barbecue grill on the porch with a roof over top.
Yeah, don't put the barbecue grill on the porch.
Or how about the guy who cooks the turkey every year? You're going to respond to something like that. He's going to drop it down in the oil, and all of a sudden the flames are going to shoot high.
Yeah, so that's kind of part of our, you know, the fire prevention stuff. That's where we want to, you know, get out talking to people and just kind of remind them of those things, just to, as they're out doing their everyday lives, maybe something we said or something they saw can kind of stick and prevent something from happening.
When we came to the break, we were talking about going out into the schools and whatnot, and you said there are different levels. You talk to the little kids so they're not afraid of you when you come. But, you know, the idea, you're wearing a hat and you get to wear boots and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, they always enjoy that.
It's very attractive to them, especially if you have a dog. Do you have a dog?
We don't have a dog. We get
let's talk to your supervisors about that. You need a dog.
We get some goats come through our station every now and our one station.
Okay, well, that would be unique, Brighton Township goat firefighter. But, yeah, when you say, you know, people pick up on things when you talk about it. That's important to be out. And do you have some functions going on in Brighton Township this month where the public can come and see you?
Certainly, yeah. We have actually this coming Friday we have a food truck and fire trucks night that we're putting on at our station number 3, which is on Grange Road out in Brighton Township. And basically, you know, it's just an event to bring the people of the community in, see what we have there, talk some fire prevention stuff, get some stuff out to the kids. Got some bounce houses out there for them to enjoy, and then the food trucks. You know, everyone enjoys it.
I'm just a little bit too heavy for the bounce houses, but I know the kids enjoy it. So aromatherapy candles, extension cords, holiday time. You're putting up all these candles, oxygen cylinders. I have to tell you, I know some home health people, and I know that people who are on oxygen, usually because they've smoked their entire lives, still can't kick the habit, and sometimes they'll light up a cigarette while they have the oxygen lighting up. Yeah,
that's definitely an issue. So when we talk those kind of fire safety things, the big thing with oxygen, a lot of people think that oxygen is flammable. It's really not. The problem that it gives us, though, is it feeds fire a lot better than just regular air. Oxygen is one of the things that fire needs to burn. So if you're blowing oxygen onto a fire, it's going to burn faster, burn hotter. So oxygen is one of those things. Definitely want to keep it away from open flame. Storing it, just make sure that it's stored somewhere that it's not going to fall over or something like that. Accidentally get the safety's knocked off of it or things like that.
Yeah, and I often see people, you're driving around Beaver County, you see people sitting out on the porch with their oxygen, and they're smoking.
Yeah, it happens.
What are you going to do?
Yep.
NFPA, what is that?
So that's the National Fire Prevention Association.
Okay.
Or the National Fire Protection Association. And basically it's an organization that's out there that kind of reaches all aspects of the fire service, and that they create regulations, that we have to operate by. They create regulations that the general public should operate by. They do things with building codes and then fire safety stuff as well. Doing the fire prevention week, fire prevention month. So they kind of cover all the different bases that we deal with, and try to assist us in making it the best that we can.
And this year's theme is?
So this year's theme is Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. And this year is kind of a special year for them. So it's actually the 100th anniversary of the Fire Prevention Week. So they they're really proud of that being like one of the longest standings kind of health guided thing that the country does. And the point of what they're saying there, that Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, is making sure that whether you are in a business or in your own home, that you have an escape plan ready for when there's emergency, and you practice it so that when, hopefully it never does, but when that emergency does happen, everyone knows what they need to do, and it's just kind of a secondary reaction to them that they don't have to think
you don't
about.
want the kids hiding in the closet or under a bed where nobody can find them. Have that safe spot in the yard where everybody goes to. And also now as our population is aging, the seniors or adults who will run back in a burning house to try and save the family pet.
Yeah, that's always something that we deal with. It's very difficult because, we know pets are just like family. But the biggest thing that we try to stress is as much of a family as they are, you can go out and get another dog, you can go out and get another cat, whatever it might be, but we can't replace you. So. All right.
Buddy Nunamaker from the Brighton Township Fire Department, thank you for talking with us today about firefighters, EMS personnel, and all you do for our communities.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
And Friday, Brighton Township, you have the first fire prevention thing. What is it, number 3?
Fire station number 3, 84 Grange Road. We're doing our fire trucks and food trucks night.
Sounds like a plan. All right, change those batteries in your smoke detector. I'm Mike Romai. Thanks to Buddy Nunamaker for being with us today, talking about Fire Prevention Month on WBVP, WMBA, Beaver County Radio, and the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
It's been stated before that working at St. Barnabas is compassionate work with excellent career opportunities. In addition, we've heard when you enjoy what you're doing every day, it's not work. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen in to what motivates their employees.
Hello, my name is Emily Tahansky, and I love to be able to help others and knowing that I make a difference in a person's life.
Find out about the exceptional career opportunities St. Barnabas has to offer by visiting stbarnabashealthsystem.com/careers for more information, or by calling 724-444-JOBS. That's 724-444-5627. Find out why St. Barnabas is apart from the ordinary.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.